All right, guys, welcome back to another book interview. I'm here with Landon Brazile. He had said yes to writing his chapter for Hidden Revenue. Landon, brother, how are you doing today?
I am doing amazing, man. It's a pleasure to be here, and I continuously feel blessed and honored to be able to, be on your platform in front of your audience. So I'm truly grateful for it, and I'm excited for the future.
That's what's up, man. I'm so excited for you and getting your chapter written. I know I had a chance to really speak with you about what you do at ZFind, a phenomenal service that you're doing for the STR industry, and I think that it's something that is needed. I think that it's something that is now, and love for you to really dive deep into that at some point in time. But today we're talking about your story and how you got started and why you gotten started. So just share with the people a little bit about who you are, what you do, and why they need to pay attention.
Yeah, so a little bit about me, who I am. My name is Landon Brazile. I am a real estate entrepreneur. I do like to call myself a real estate investor, but I spend way more time on the tech side, building business instead of investing in real estate. I have learned that building businesses and the struggle and challenge and life lessons that you learn of building a business, running a team, outside of just throwing money into real estate is something that is more fruitful for me and more fulfilling for me. So I've oftentimes changed my title from real estate investor to real estate entrepreneur, but I'm a real estate entrepreneur. Played college football, have a great sense of team. That's what team collaboration. That's the type of person I am. I love giving. I love helping people. But that's who I am at core. And so that's where I base a lot of, things about myself. Now, when it comes to what I do, I run a platform called ZFind. We are the number one Airbnb property distribution platform where we have property owners that are uploading their properties approved for Airbnb, and also co-hosting. So property owners that are looking to work with a co-host, they upload their properties on our platform. And obviously the users, they can claim properties on there. I've been in the Airbnb space for 3 years now, almost 3 years. Full time in the property acquisition space, 3 years. I was buying real estate and then doing Airbnb, in that aspect, but I kind of scaled that down so I could focus on my business fully. But I have a full understanding of the hospitality industry. I was even a customer success specialist when it came to me working with Tesla. So I understood, communicating with people and just understanding people as it is. Yeah, that's just a little bit about me, on the Airbnb side, and what I know and what I'm about.
Yeah. So what stood out for me as well when I first had a chance to really meet you and talk to you is how generous you were with just helping your fellow your fellow man now, helping those who wanted to really get into short-term rentals but didn't really know how or where to get started, and you would come in and not take their hand and lead them, but you just literally come in and just take over the whole process and then gift them the results. So talk a little bit about that before we kind of dive into the book and why you decided to share your story.
So I don't regret doing any of those things. Some people are like, "Why did you do that? You wasted all those months, all this time, helping people for free, people taking advantage of you, doing, like obviously when you go out your way to help someone that does not know what they're doing and they need help and they don't want to pay for anything, they're going to do the most to try to get as much as possible out of you because you're not charging them. So, people have always, when I tell people I helped 70 people get their first Airbnb completely for free when I was first trying to start this, business and get it going, they're like, I would never do that. Like, you wasted so much of your time. And I'm like, yeah, well, actually, I found my business partner out of that. And, we've turned into a way bigger company offering a service that, has a super high demand. So I don't look at it as a regret, but essentially, my goal for trying to help people was because I saw a gap in the industry. I saw a lot of people that were working with coaches. I was one of those coaches that had students that were either successful or unsuccessful. And obviously, the students that are successful, they don't need your help because they have already gotten success. They may they may need like operational help, but the students that were unsuccessful, they may have had potential in the operational side of the business, but not the sales part. So how do I help them go from the sales part to the operational part as quick as possible? And if they're able to grasp the concept of Airbnb as an operational side, then maybe they're just not, confident enough to talk on the phone to a property owner, because we all know that when you're operating your Airbnb business, how many times you actually pick up the phone to talk to a guest? Like it's usually through texting, right? So, to talk to a property owner, you have to talk on the phone, you have to have a website, you have to be able to show these different things. And a lot of people just don't have that in them. So I wanted to create a way to bridge that gap. And I knew that because it was such a hard thing for most people, and because it was super high demand, a lot of people were probably going to be skeptical of me offering a service out the gate, solving their biggest problem that they already knew was high demand, because they knew that they needed it. And it was so it could be super simple for someone to come in and try to take advantage of people with such a high demand. Hence why 2 years before that, I got scammed trying to get a property from someone in Atlanta, right? Because I had a super high demand for it, but I didn't, I needed help. So I knew that the best way for me to build the trust that I needed, gain the authority that I needed in the space, and prove a business model was to help people for free. And it turned into what it has now. I do not regret it at all. I did go through a lot to get there. Like I was sleeping in my car. I was, sleeping in people's units on the floor, waiting for the furniture to arrive, sleeping on like the cardboard box. I would like break down the cardboard box, like lay it out, and then like wait for a pillow to arrive, have a pillow right there. So I would sleep on the floor, stuff like that. I would be in like Arizona doing the same thing. So, um, you know, I don't regret anything. I look at it as a blessing. A lot of people aren't going to go through that, especially for free, pulling money out of other places to make things work. And it's turned into what it has now. And I'm blessed for, it to all play out how it did.
Yeah, so for you doing that, obviously, like you said, you met your business partner. You guys grew a phenomenal business. It's a great platform that you guys have, that you're serving the short-term rental, vacation rental market, and it's needed. And so you were able, in those moments, I'm sure, able to find like who you were, like, and what your purpose inside the industry was about. And I'm sure that you met along the way, those 70 people probably have become like lifelong friends. And
Yeah.
you know the people who owe so much to you, because you literally took what they just felt like they couldn't do and you did it for them, and
Right.
then you gifted it to them. Like, that's amazing, man. That is amazing. And with that being said, leads us to the book Hidden Revenue, because Hidden Revenue is about top real estate professionals finding additional revenue streams in what they are already doing, and you were able to do that. So you started off as an STR host, right? Host and operator. It's like, kind of like what you were doing, and then you found this other avenue where you were able to help people, and then you started doing that for free, to where now you built this complete different service where you're targeting and catering to property owners and short-term rental managers and operators, and bringing them together. So you've created an additional revenue stream for yourself, and you're making an impact in the industry. So my question for you is, when you heard about the book Hidden Revenue, and I talked to you about this book, and I asked you, hey man, this will be a phenomenal way for you to get your story out there, and get yourself, what you're doing, in front of a lot more people. What kind of stood out for you about Hidden Revenue, and why did you decide to write your story for the book?
So when you hear the word hidden revenue, I do think this is very important for people to understand. like hidden revenue is not just in like, oh, this is like my, this is like, this is what trans, this is what is created so that I can get payouts. Like, this
Mm,
is like, it literally comes down to every single thing that you do. What happens, what happens when someone picks up the phone to call a property owner and that property ends up being a townhouse and they end up not wanting to do Airbnb because the HOA only allows 30 days or more. Well, the hidden revenue in that is if I knew midterm rentals, then I can unlock that revenue, right? It's like there's so many other avenues within the word hidden revenue that people really don't understand. And so I know for a fact that what I provide is allowing people to unlock that hidden revenue because there's a person out there that has, like I said, the operational understanding of the business. There's so much free education out there. They've gotten coaching from other people, but they just cannot close a property. They cannot get a property. Or maybe they can't afford to do rental arbitrage, but they don't understand co-hosting the way that they probably should. And they didn't unlock that hidden revenue because they don't understand co-hosting. And we provide that avenue for them to get into co-hosting. So when I hear hidden revenue, I see so many different angles that can be, touched on. And even though I'm not a expert in producing Airbnb payouts, I have a lot of experience. I do midterm rentals for my dad, but like I know that there's hidden revenue in every every little avenue of this business from start to finish. Even just the person thinking that they want to get started in the business, and deciding what coach they want to work with. This coach will provide you a different type of revenue that this coach will, right? Their experiences are completely different. So every person that's involved in the hidden revenue project, like they have a different way of a different perspective that they can share on how hidden revenue is created. I just saw that perfect opportunity for what I was doing based off of, how I helped someone in the process.
mm. So, what story did you feel compelled to share? If you can give the listeners and the viewers a bird's eye view, a little highlight reel of what you're going to share in this story, like what are the readers going to be able to take away from reading your chapter?
That something that the readers can take away is that you don't have to just be a host to provide value in this industry. You don't just have to be a coach to provide value in this industry. There's other services that you can provide in this industry to provide value to people in this industry because we are all dealing with different issues. Everyone has a different issue. Let's just say there's millions of people that are in the short-term rental industry. Well, every single person is dealing with a different issue, whether they are unprofitable. How do you create something to help someone stay profitable? How do you create something that helps someone that's not great at copywriting to, have better listing SEO? Like there's so many ways that you can provide value to people. And I don't have the typical, I don't have the typical path of what I've created. I didn't fully become a multimillionaire coach and then take, my community and push them into a software program, for something that I discovered while having these students. I quit coaching. Like I did what most coaches won't do. I quit coaching. I quit scaling an Airbnb portfolio to dive all into something that I actually didn't know fully if it would turn out to what it has turned out to. So as I share my stories and different things like that, people will understand that there's other ways that they can provide value into this industry. And it doesn't just have to come down to coaching or being a host yourself. I do recommend someone become a host to understand what goes on in the industry. But you don't just have to be a host or a coach to provide value in this industry. And a lot of the things I will share are part of that.
Now, dialing it back just a bit, because you said a lot about, you quit coaching, you quit, scaling a portfolio to really dive into something that you had no idea that it was going to work. And I think that's a testament to like your work ethic and then your positive attitude on just what you're doing. And maybe that's related to like your sports history, and just pushing yourself past certain limits. So if you can just dial it back a bit and just share, uh, that moment, that pivotal moment where you was like, you know what, college sports is not going to work. Coaching and scaling this portfolio is not going to work. Like, what was that pivotal moment where you were like, I got to just chase after my dreams and go after something different?
I like to look at I like to look at the people that do what they do very well, and a lot of them don't focus on a lot of things at one time, at least in the early stages of what they built. And I'm not going to compare myself to, the billionaires out there like Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk, or, I do study these people, but at the end of the day, they focused on one thing. And I think that when you're trying to figure out every nuance in an industry, every problem in an industry, as well as identify your product market fit, your target audience, every single problem that you would deal with when it comes to something specific, you kind of have to focus on one thing. And as a coach, you identify different problems, but they're educational problems. Like, as a coach, you can't really solve them with technology until you get to a point to where you can solve them with technology. So in the beginning, you have to solve them with education. Well, if I'm trying to build a company on the side, that's a distraction to my company. Like, one has to go. It's the same way when someone is working a job and their business starts to get so big that they can't work their job no more, or their job is taking too much of their time, or they can't really focus on their business anymore. So when I look at that and just knowing who I am, I'm not going to distract myself with too many things. I'm going to focus on one thing. And the one thing that I saw that provided the most value to as many people as possible, even outside of just education, is what I'm currently doing, because a lot of people already have the education. So I need to go be a coach because there's enough coaches out there to provide that education. And so I saw that because there's a gap in this market, I can go ahead and solve this problem for those coaches' students, or for people who have already had education and simply just need the solution.
So for those who are listening and watching, and you don't know who Landon Brazile is, he is co-founder, co-owner of ZFind, and ZFind is a property or a platform where property owners who are, and maybe you can expand on this, Landon, but property owners who are interested in arbitraging, or they're okay with doing short-term rentals, and the platform marries the two. They marry the property owners and the short-term rental hosts and operators together, right? Am I explaining that right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I would, okay, for a kindergartner to understand, or for someone's grandma to understand, just look at Zillow and look at us as very similar. The only difference is if all the properties on Zillow were approved for Airbnb, that would be us.
Okay. So guys, listen, if you want to learn more about Landon and what he's doing at ZFind, we will leave his information below in the comment section. But Landon, go ahead and tell the people watching where they can learn more about you. If you can give them information where they can reach out to you. Maybe they want to learn how to list their properties on your platform. Maybe they're a short-term rental host or operator and they want to join your platform to reach out to property owners. Like, how can people find you?
Yeah, so if you want to learn more about ZFind, you can go to zfind.com. So it's ZI-FIND.com. When it comes to anything educational around what I do, who I am, what I'm about, the best place to find me is really long form type of content. So that's my YouTube channel at Landon Brazile. Just type in Landon Brazile in the search bar. Anything when it comes to education around ZFind on YouTube, just type in Z dash find on YouTube. And we post, YouTube videos on about ZFind on that page. If you want to get more personal and like more short form type of content, or just kind of get in the insight into my life, you can follow me on Instagram at Real Brazil, Real Brazil, Brazile. And that's pretty much it.
All right, guys, listen. You know how to reach out to Landon to learn more about what he does. Landon, thank you for stopping by and sharing a little bit about your story. I cannot wait to read your story, Hidden Revenue. I know that it's going to make an impact in the lives of those who decide to read the book and decide to read your chapter. That's the beautiful thing about what we're doing here. Not just to highlight what you're doing and to bring your services and your likeness to the world, but to have your likeness and your services impact people so they can take their lives to the next level. So thank you for all your hard work that you've been doing, brother, in the industry. Thank you for coming into this book, sharing your story. And it's going to be a phenomenal time, brother. So I appreciate you stopping by, man. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for everything.